Hey guys, what's going on? Brian Martin United here with your daily news show. We are BAU here at BMU now that the transfer window has closed. If you are new, please do subscribe. We are on the road to 100. Be part of BMU history. Be part of that first 100. Let's get into it. All right, so I gave you my transfer news spiel and roundup yesterday. I'll link that below so you can check that out. It's a good video. But look, in summary, our window was a solid, I would say 6.5 out of 10, right? 6.5 out of 10. It was solid. We have to build from somewhere. We have to be patient. We made the right moves in the right direction. Yes, we wanted a midfielder. I know I wanted a midfielder too. But we have what we have. We got what we got. It's better than what we had. It's enough to build on. We have to be patient. Remember, Manchester City, they were purchased in 2008 and they won their next Premier League title in 2011. Since then, they hadn't won anything since the 1930s or 40s, something like that. I'm not as well versed in Manchester City history, obviously, because I don't really care. But the point I'm trying to make is that they waited 3 years after their acquisition to win silverware. So we need to be patient. We need to be patient. And yes, we've won silverware, but you know what I mean? The big ones, right? The big championships. Um, anyway, moving on from that, Tyrell Malacia. So, right, he's still here. He could go to Saudi or he could go to Turkey. The Turkish window closes September 11th. The Saudi window closes September 10th. I mean, look, I said this before. I said it in a short. If Malacia stays fit, he could be a solid backup when Dorgu needs rotation and or heaven forbid is injured. Knock on wood. I think Malacia was solid before he got hurt. Yes, he went on loan. It wasn't a successful loan, but I do think from my memories of Tyra Malacia, he's a decent player, right? So and he's been professional, right? He hasn't been an attitude problem or anything like that that I've heard of. So I think that he could be a solid backup for Dorgu or just a, decent rotational squad player that plays maybe in these FA Cup matches. Although, as I say it, I think back to that dreary night at Grimsby Town, losing there. But again, I think he could be a solid rotational player, a solid backup for Dorgu. He's 26, right? So he's not old. He's not over the hill or anything like that. And I think Dallo needs to stay on the right. I don't like this Dallo on the left side stuff, right? Dallo needs to stay on the right, and be a backup there. Now, moving on to goalkeepers. So Onana and Bayindir are obviously the two goalkeepers that we had prior to the Cindy Lammens signing that just occurred. Now, Onana is 29. Bayindir is 27. So neither are like young understudy goalkeepers, right? They are seasoned professionals at this point in their careers. Onana wants the money. I'm sure you've all heard the story about him wanting a 25% pay increase. It seems like it was lost on him that, or he wasn't aware of the contract that he signed where the players would lose 25% of their wages if they failed to qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, that was the case. He suffered the 25% pay cut and I guess came back surprised, like what's going on? So he's trying to negotiate a 25% pay increase, which is absolutely undeserved. In fact, that is a a sackable thought, right? Like to even have the nerve to come back and ask for that is ridiculous. And I think that just kind of speaks to maybe his character a little bit. Again, I don't know the guy personally. I only go off of what I've seen and what I've heard. And that just sounds kind of greedy and like he only wants the money. So, if you ask me who I would keep, if I had to keep one of the two, it would be Bayindir. He's a little bit younger. I think there's more room for growth there with Bayindir. His distribution is just as good, if not better, than Onana's. I think he's, okay at stopping shots, right? I think he's obviously shaky on crosses and coming out to claim the ball, but maybe he can learn, right? Maybe he can learn. Again, he's not a young, understudied goalkeeper, like I said, but maybe there's still a little room for improvement there. And maybe he can be a solid backup. Now, if you ask me, ideally what I would do, it would be Lammens number 1, Heaton number 2, and I would promote an academy player to that number 3 goalkeeping position. I would sell both Onana and Bayender if I could, and just have them both out the door onto other clubs. Bayender where he can play, Onana where he can make his money. Right now, I'm sure you're thinking, what if Lammens doesn't work out? Then I say we go back into the market for an Emi Martinez if he's still available or still wants to come. But honestly, my number one target is, and you've heard me say it, Andre Lunin from Real Madrid. If you recall, he was a great backup. He is a great backup to Thibaut Courtois. He led Real Madrid to the Champions League final, only for Courtois to come back and take the gloves off of him. Fair enough. Courtois is Courtois. But Lunin, to me, is excellent. Every time I see him play, he's excellent. He seems to be professional. I haven't heard any bad stories about him. He's 26, right? So again, seasoned enough, but still younger than what we have. He's proven that he can handle, the big games. He's proven that he can handle at a big club. I would love to see us go for him. Honestly, I would still love to see us go for him anyway, right? Next summer maybe, right? If we end up with like a Lunin, Lammens, and academy kid situation, or Lunin, Lammens, and Heaton situation, something like that. Like, I would not be upset with that at all. So yeah, I will continue to beat the drum on that one until hopefully one day Lunin is holding up a Manchester United goalkeeper jersey. But going back to my general transfer discussion and talk here, one thing that you've seen that the big clubs still have a lot of pull, right? I mean, people are still willing to join us despite our finish last season because of the Manchester United name and the history and pedigree. I mean, Lammens, right? Supposedly Lammens, there was a bid from Villa, and they offered more money to Antwerp, but Lammens wanted to come to Manchester United. So an example right there in our goalkeeping situation. Going to our rivals, right? Look at Isak leaving Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle, aren't they the richest club right now? Don't they have, on paper the most money? And they had a clear project where he was the focal point of that project. But he wanted to go to Liverpool, bigger club, right? And yes, I'm aware of Newcastle's history from way back when, but a lot of the younger fans today maybe aren't. They just see what they see, on paper, and what's happened in the last 10 years, I'd say. And so yeah, like I know about Newcastle's history. I know about their previous pedigree and whatnot and things. But I mean, you look at them today, building towards being champions again. A lot of backing, right? Growing in all ways possible, but still Isak said, no, I want to go to Liverpool, right? So yeah, just shows you big clubs still have big pull. I guess I'm saying that to say too that Manchester United cannot, negate that, right? We got to use that to our favor in our negotiations. I'm sure we are, but I'm just saying it just so you all hear it come out of my mouth, right? Like, we need to continue to push for these signings, continue to try and convince these, young up and coming players that, hey, look, United is the place to be. You can come here, you can grow, you can be part of our history, maybe even become a club legend, right? So anyway, other news, Carabao Cup fiasco. I'm sure you heard about what happened with Grimsby Town. Apparently Grimsby Town fielded an eligible player. He was signed, or registered, I should say, 1 minute past the deadline. I mean, come on, 1 minute, people, like, let's not freak out about that, right? Some people are saying rules are rules and they should be, tossed out. They were fined for it. Some folks are saying they should be tossed out. We should be reinstated. Look, we don't deserve it. You saw the match. We don't deserve it. I mean, and plus the guy came on in the 73rd minute, right? We were down 2-0, 2-1 at that point. So if anything, the guy almost kept us in it, right? Assuming it's all his fault. I'm sure it's probably not. But, like, come on, guys, let's think about that, right? It doesn't make any sense. We're out. We should stay out and focus on the Premier League and the FA Cup when that comes around. So yeah, one and done on that one. I'm not going to go into detail on that one, right? I think people who are yapping saying that we should be reinstated need to just can it and just move on. Unless, hats off to Grimsby. They won. It was a night for them to remember. It's a night that they can share with their grandkids, and pass the story down for years to come. And yeah, while we're at it, speaking of passing things down for years to come, nice segue there, right? I try. Please subscribe if you are new. Please like. If you are liking what you are seeing, please leave a comment. Please let me know how I can improve and bring you what you want to see. I really want this to be a safe space for you all to come and support and talk about Manchester United and other football stuff as well, right? I will try to interact with every single one of you. I will try to address your comments. I, you know, while I want to grow, I don't want to fall into some of the big channel traps where, like, you're all talking amongst yourselves and the big channel doesn't interact with you, right? I want to try and stay in the community, interact with you guys. I will shout you out if your predictions are right, shout you out if you have a good idea, you know, whatever, right? This is a community channel, community space, so make it yours. Um, anyway, looking ahead. So let me look back first. Against Burnley, we were solid. We were solid. There's a lot to build on there. Game probably should have finished something like 5-3 or 6-3. Sheshko, right? I think it's time for him to start from minute one. I've liked the glimpses that I've seen. He seems to be growing and learning with every match. He seems to be getting closer and closer to scoring. So, apart from a penalty, right? So, yeah, I would love to see Sheshko start from minute one against City. I think he can go on to do great things for us. I think he can do for us what Erling Haaland has done for City. I know he's not coming in with the same fanfare and stats, but I think he can be an absolute terror to deal with for defenders, given his size and his ability that I've seen thus far and what I've seen from him in his previous clubs. So yeah, I mean, and speaking of that return, right? Like, again, the City match is our next game. Just had to scroll down here and get my notes in front of me here. But City are 13th place, right? So they beat Wolves. They lost to Spurs, lost to Brighton. I think we'll be hearing lost to Spurs quite a bit this season with the way that they have moved and improved in this transfer window. But yeah, I think City are there for the taking. I will say it again. I think City are there for the taking. I think we will beat Manchester City. I don't think it'll be a big blowout, but I think we will beat Manchester City. You can clip that up. You can throw it in my face later if I'm wrong, but I'm saying that right now. I believe that Manchester United will beat Manchester City on, what is it, September 14th when the game is, I believe it is. Yeah. So count it, clock it, bet on it. Manchester United victory over Manchester City on Derby Day. After City, we've got Chelsea, who are second. They look very good. They beat Palace, Fulham, and West Ham. After that, we've got Brentford, who are 15th in the table. They've only beaten Villa. And we've got Sunderland after that, who are in 6th place. But, let's not let that scare us. They beat Brentford and West Ham, but they lost to Burnley, who we beat. So, again, I think we could get... I think we could potentially get 10 points. 10 points out of these next 4 Premier League matches. That's what I think we can do. Maybe 9. Maybe we can't get anything out of Chelsea. But I think we beat City. I think we can draw Chelsea. I think we'll beat Brentford. I think we beat Sunderland. So that's, yeah. That is 10 points I'm predicting. 10 points I'm predicting out of our next 4 matches. Again, you can clip that up. You can throw it in my face. If I get it wrong, I will hold my hands up. But that's what my prediction is. I've got my idea for starting 11, but I will do that in a match preview for the Manchester City match. And that kind of depends on what we hear about Cunha too, right? It's a little too early for me to really try and guess that one. But yeah, so we are in the international break for the men's teams, but that does not mean the Manchester United action stops. Our women's side is in action this weekend against Leicester City. They kick off the campaign for the Women's Soccer League, or Yeah, the women's professional league. Um, and so yeah, against Leicester City, and also they are in the playoff against Brøndby, I think it is, to get into the league phase of the Women's Champions League. So I will be following and supporting that, as well as you should as well if you love Manchester United. So I will try and do maybe, a halftime show or a match preview or a post game discussion on that one as well. So we can, continue our Manchester United action. We don't have to sit there and watch these international matches where England plays Moldova or something like that, right? Although I probably will do stuff for that as well. So stay tuned, hit that bell notification so that way you know when I post a video. Um, Reminders, like I said, September 14th, we are back in action in the Premier League against Manchester City. The Turkish window closes September 11th. The Saudi window closes September 10th. Um, but yes. Before I forget, before I go, my prediction for January, I think we launch a big Baleba bid. That's what I think. I think we launch a big Baleba bid. I think Baleba wanted to come to us this summer. He's had a poor start to the season. I think his head is elsewhere. Um, so yeah, I think January we launch a big Baleba bid. Again, clip it up, throw it in my face if I'm wrong. I will put my hands up, but that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, on your way out, please like, share, and subscribe. Road to 100. Be part of the BMU history. YouTube is funny about the perks and things like that, but when they become available to me, I will try and do something special for the first 100. So please be part of BMU history. Be part of that first 100. Let me know how I can grow. Let me know how I can bring you the content that you want to see. So until then, guys, I will see you on the next one. Peace.